Welcome back to our course, Music Theory for Preliminary Level. And this is lesson 2. I hope you did your assignment for lesson 1. If you have not done so, I will encourage you to do so. In lesson 2, we'll look at note names within the treble and bass clefs, excluding ledger lines. We'll name the musical notes. Some of them you can see on the right hand side in the figures shown. We will look at note values and rest, and then we'll try to understand what these note values are for each of the notes: semi-brief, minim, crotchet, quaver, and so on and so forth. So let's proceed. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to identify the alphabet used in music to start with. You'll also be able to identify the alphabetical names of lines and spaces. You'll be able to identify all musical notes, their values, and their rests. You'll be able to appropriately position the notes and the rests on the stave. And then you'll be able to tell the relationship between the notes. That's between minim being equals to 2 crotchets, crotchets being equals to 2 quavers, and so on and so forth. So let's have some demo where we look at this practically. Let's get to the drawing board. Now, what are the names of the notes that we have in music? First of all, let us talk about music alphabets. Music alphabets are from A to G. A to G meaning A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. And then you ask the question, after G, what's next? Well, the answer is quite simple. It's A again. So we don't have H like in the English letters of the alphabet. The music letters of the alphabet were taken from obviously the English letters of the alphabet, but they stop at G instead of Z for the English alphabets. So A to G are the music alphabets. And now that we've established that, let's continue from where we stopped in lesson 1, naming the great stave using these musical alphabets. If you recall that our great stave looks like this. And our treble clef started like that, second line to the first, and like that, and bass clef all the way like that. You remember that I did say that the treble clef is called G clef and the bass clef is called F clef. The treble clef starts on line 2. The bass clef on the bass stave starts on line 4. Because it's called G clef, that line is labeled as G. And this line 4 is labeled as F. And this is how we put music letter names on the stave. We go line, space, line, space. So after the line you have space, and after the line you have space, after the space another line. So if we write A, B, C, D, E, F, G, after F will be G in the space, and after G will be A in the line, after A will be B in the space, and after B will be C, which you recall is our middle C, the connector between the treble staff and the bass staff, which makes up the great staff. That line, the middle C, is your ledger line. Also recall that we talked about ledger line in lesson 1. If you have forgotten what that is, quickly remind yourself by pausing this video and going back to lesson 1 to remind yourself about that. So we continue. This will be D, and then E on the line, F in the space, G on the line, just like we have it here, and then A on the space, B on the line. Let's extend this a little bit. C on the space, D on the line, E on the space, F on the line. If we write that down, we have E on the space, D on the line, C on the space, B on the line, A on the space, G on the line. So that eventually for the bass staff, let's start from the bass staff. For the bass staff, let's look at the lines. Pick out the letter names for the lines. For the lines, you would have G, B, D, F, A. If you were saying it as I was writing it and you were correct by what I've written, then congratulations to you, because you get a hang of it already. And let's write out the spaces. You have A, C, E, G. For the treble staff, lines, what do you have? You have E, G, B, D, and F. Let's recall that again. E, G, B, D, E, G, B, D, and F. And for the spaces, you have F, A, C, E. Face. So you could easily know these letter names by the acronym. This one is quite obvious, it's face. So that's an acronym that you can use to know it. So if you are asked the question, what are the spaces for the treble staff? All you need to remember is face. And so you can write F, A, C, E diagonally. And what are the lines? E, G, B, D, F. And usually I'll say every good boy deserves Fanta. I don't know if you drink Fanta, but I love Fanta a lot. So I put that into my acronym just so that I can know it very easily. And I think that has helped me over the years. I suppose it should be able to help you as well. Every good boy deserves Fanta, and it's E, G, B, D, F. For the spaces, you don't need any acronym because it's an English word already, face. And let's look at the spaces here. Here I like to say all cows eat grass. And that's definitely true. All cows eat grass, or all cattle eat grass. Whichever one you choose, just make sure that you remember that it's A, C, E, G. And now for the lines. Similar to what we have here, every good boy deserves Fanta, because you can see already that G, B, D, F, you have G, B, D, F here. The only difference is A at the end and E at the beginning for the lines. So I can bring all this back. Good boy deserves Fanta, and write it again and say good boy deserves Fanta, and then add another word called always. And so you'll be able to remember by doing that. Good boy deserves Fanta always. GBDFA. So now let's see how we can remember this very quickly. Some of the questions that will be given to you in the assignment would have some of these elements that I'm about to show you. Let's see. You could be given a question like this. And you are asked to tell what note is that, the letter name for that line, or the letter name for this. Remember, we could have double bar lines. Okay. A question is given to you and it says, write out the music alphabet name of these notes. The first thing to do is to look at the clef. The clef sign, very important. The clef sign here is the treble clef, which means that from this part to this part of the stave is a treble stave, and the rest is a bass stave. Because once you add another clef, it changes the behavior of the notes on the stave. So let's look at this first note. It's on the 4th line. Remember, it's on the 4th line. On the 4th line, for treble stave, you have E, G. Every good boy deserves Fanta. The 4th line will be D. This is 3rd line. 3rd line will be B. And that's how to answer the question. 1st line will be E. And now come to the bass. I beg your pardon, there should be 2 dots there. And now come to the bass stave, where you have a note on the 5th line. For lines of the bass, you have good boy deserves Fanta always. And that's the 5th line, so this will be A. And on the 4th line would be F. And that's how to answer the question. So if you had written D, B, E, A, F, then you will be correct 100%. Anything short of that is not correct. Now let's move on to the notes. Notes. Musical notes. In music, we have various notes, some of which we'll be looking at right now. And one of them is called breve. Breve. Another is called semi-breve or semi-breve, depending on how you say it. And then minim. And then crotchet. And then quaver, and then semi-quaver, and then semi-quaver, and lastly you have hemi, demi, semi quiver. Now let's see what these music notes look like. Brief looks like that. Semi-brief is just like an egg shape. Minim is an egg with a stem. Crotchet is an egg with a stem shaded, with the egg shaded. Quiver is an egg shaded, a stem and a flag. And semi-quiver is an egg shaded with two flags on a stem. Demi-semi-quiver is an egg shaded, a stem and three flags. And hemi-demi-semi-quiver is an egg, a stem and four flags, like that. Having seen these notes, now let's look at their beats and values, and that's where we stop for this lesson. So we write notes, beats and values. Brief, semi-brief, semi-quiver, demi-semi-quiver, and hemi-demi-semi-quiver. Now the best way to know all this is not to cram these values or their beats. The best way is to know just one. Pick one to know, and the rest will be very easy for you, because this is the way that I recommend people to learn this. Now you need to know, for example, one, which is crotchet. Crotchet is one beat. If crotchet is one beat, when you go up this way, double it, double the value as you go up. When you go down, divide the value. So minim will be 2 if we double that, and semi-brief will be 4 if we double that, and brief will be 8. So next time you don't need to try to remember what it is. Just remember one and you can know the rest. Quiver will then be half as we divide. Semi-quiver will be 1/4. Demi-semi-quiver will be 1/8. And hemi-demi-semi-quiver will be 1/16. In terms of their values, we also need to know one, like we did for beats. The value for crotchet is 1/4. We will see why that is 1/4 in subsequent lessons. But for now, just know this value as 1/4. And we do the same. If we double this, this will be half, and semi-brief will be 1, brief will be 2. Quiver will be 1/8, and semi-quiver will be 1/16. Demi-semi-quiver will be 1/32, and hemi-demi-semi-quiver will be 1/64. It means that crotchet is one beat. So if you find on a stave some crotchet notes, some crotchet notes like that, it means that this is one bit, one bit, one bit, one bit, one bit, one bit, one bit. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 bits here. So you count 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, like that. Ta, 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 ta. So it's ta, 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 ta. 1 bit each. And if, for example, you had 2 quavers, here you count, as you count ta, 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 you have to count half of this one of the crotchets that you counted. So this will be twice of that. Okay, I hope that is very, very clear. Once again, if you think you don't understand or something is not clear enough, you have the ability to pause this video and go through it again. In this way, you will definitely get it. Now let us see how these notes are positioned on the stave. As you would observe that some of the stems go up, some of the stems come down. Now the rule of thumb is this: you have a stave, and you have a note like that. If you have a note with a stem, the rule of thumb says that after the third line, you should bring the stem down. This note is above the third line, line 3. So you should bring the stem down. And notice where I put the stem. I didn't put the stem on the right, like that. I didn't put the stem on the right, but on the left. This will be wrong. Should be on the left. And if your note is below the third line, like this, then your stem should be up and should be on the right, not on the left. So a note like this will be wrong, just as a note like that is wrong. And so the question you want to ask yourself is, how about on the third line itself? Where do you put it? On the third line, just like you have this note here, you can decide for yourself either to go up or to come down. That choice depends on you. That choice is totally yours to make. But the rule of thumb says after the third line, stem goes down, and before the third line, stem goes up. I hope that is clear. And lastly, let's look at the relationship between these notes. So we have breve would make 2 semi-breve, like an egg. And 2 semi-breves will make two minims will make 4 crotchets. And so on and so forth. This will make 2 quavers, and so on. And this will make 2 semiquavers, and so on and so forth. And the tree keeps growing. These 2 will make demi-semiquavers, and lastly these 2 will make hemi-demi-semiquavers. Hemi-demi-semiquavers. I believe that that's clear. What a beautiful tree, musical tree. And that will be all for this lesson. In the next lesson, we'll be looking at dotted notes and rests. See you in the next one. Your assignment today will be to identify some notes on the staff. Assignment. Write the music alphabetical names of the following notes. Now I'll draw a big staff like so. 5. You have 1 outside, 1 under, we close up. So for each one of them, write out the alphabetical names of these notes. I only used semi-brief notes. In this case, write the musical alphabetical names of the following notes.